All right. So before I let Laura introduce herself and introduce the idea and the powerful techniques that HeartMath has to offer, I wanted us to move through a little practice because it is a breath practice. And this practice is a little bit of a meditation. And so we'll go ahead and find ourselves sitting in the chair. And I want you to actually feel your body resting in the chair. Feel your feet touching the earth. Notice where your hands are resting, and there isn't a place they have to be, but just notice where they do rest. And allow yourself to be fully present. Allow yourself to be right here in this moment. And that means we're letting go of all the to-dos, everything that still needs to happen today, all the stuff that you didn't get to. And we're just going to pay attention to right now. We feel our feet touching the earth. We feel the chair, how it's holding us up. And I want you to sink just a bit deeper onto that surface beneath you. And now deepen the breath. And if it feels comfortable for you, allow the eyes to close. We're going to take a moment and tune into the heart. And if you can imagine, you can draw that breath into that heart space. Imagine that the heart itself is breathing. And we're breathing deeply, and the body is relaxed. And I want you to set the intention for this session. I want you to set the intention to be open to learning new ideas, open to new possibilities, open to healing. And when you're ready, you can go ahead and open the eyes. Well, Laura and I are, I'm going to say we're best friends, and and I'm lucky to have her in my life. She has lots of different talents to share. And one thing I learned early on is that she has a lot to offer us. And she is certified in HeartMath, and she's offered to come and share that with each of us. So you want to share a little bit more about that certification or anything else you'd like to share with us?
Sure, thank you. So my name's Laura Fiori, and I'm a certified HeartMath coach. And what we're going to do today is learn kind of the background of HeartMath, the research that they just incredibly novel breakthrough understanding of how the body works. And by the end of this hour, we will learn their core technique. And the breath that Denise introduced us with is actually the first step of the technique. So that actually worked out perfectly. So as we go on, I want to share some of the research. I want to share, I want to hear how people feel about that, because really the power of HeartMath is how you feel. So we're going to stop periodically and take a breath. We're going to stop periodically and everybody's going to share how they feel. And then we'll also learn this technique. So by the end of this session, you'll be able to use this technique in your life. HeartMath created coaches because sometimes it's not that easy to do on your own. You know, they say does it take 14 days or 28 days to create a new habit? But if you have support for that, it can really help if that's the way you learn. Some people love to do things on their own, and some people love to do things in groups. So also, I'm not going to have a handout today, but I am going to ask for your email so that I can email you a document that has links, because HeartMath has published really all of their information about their research online, as well as they've made videos that really help us picture what's happening. So they're animated videos so that they can draw like the waves of the heart, expanding into the room, because they've done a lot of measurement, and your heart, like the space that your heartbeat travels is just way bigger than we would ever think. You know, we think of our bodies as right here. Sometimes we think of energy fields, but like our heartbeat can travel like past the tips of our fingers. And so when we're sitting with somebody like at conversational distance, our heartbeat, their system feels our heartbeat and our system feels their heartbeat. And HeartMath has researched what's contained in our heartbeats that we share. So this is about us, but it's also about the people in our lives that we know, that we don't know, at the grocery store. And HeartMath's even done research beyond that. So, but we'll start at the beginning today. So, well, first, who's heard of HeartMath? Geez, everybody's heard of it.
No. I got in all the trainings online.
And does anybody know a little bit more than that? Like, has anybody read something or heard a more in-depth conversation?
Okay. You got to use the machine, right?
We did briefly, yeah, and make it come together for about 2 seconds.
I had one, but it made me tense.
The pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've listened to some of the podcasts that they do.
So they do a lot of different, you can sign up and get regular podcasts interviewing different people. They're just, and their goal is just for everybody to have this information. And so there's just a little about their structure. They have heartmath.org, which is their research organization where they started. And they publish just hello, welcome. So on heartmath.org, they publish all of their research. They've done research internally, oftentimes in partnership with universities. And it's all beautifully categorized. Like you can go to the search bar and type in very specific criteria and the studies will come up that might be of interest to you. And then they also have heartmath.com, which is their store. And they sell books for learning. They sell the Heart Rate Variability Monitor, which we'll talk about today. And so there's things that support the learning of people that they sell at their store. So you can use both sites. So it's very accessible. So I want to just mention some people I consider big names who are now sharing about HeartMath. Dr. Joe Dispenza mentions it regularly in his work, if you know him. Greg Braden, Pam Gregory, like there's many different authors and speakers who mention HeartMath. They formed in the 1990s. That's when the core group got together and began doing their research studies. Their first book was published in '99. And then my favorite is Transforming Stress, which was published in 2005. And I like this one because it has all the scientific research, but it's really short. And you can see, I read it all the time. It's just filled with information. But they also have this is the printout of an online PDF, which also contains all the research. So you don't need to buy anything to do this. And there's, extensive things available to learn.
So can I share, Kimberly, if you know Kimberly Snyder, she was doing healing books and she's recently has been certified in HeartMath. And so she's doing online meditations now. So she's a pretty big name. If you look her up, you might recognize some of the work that she's done.
So how many people meditate? So like kind of regularly, like it's a part of your, yeah. So now let's talk about what HeartMath is and what it isn't, and comparing it to meditation is a good way to understand it better. So typically a meditator is setting aside a certain amount of time and they're not with anybody else. Typically they're alone or maybe walking outside, but they're focusing in a certain way. Is anybody who meditates want to share what they use, what their technique or approach is? Ayana?
Well, I I do all different kinds, but because anything that keeps me, that takes me away from all my chatter and gets me really focused and energizes me. So sometimes my music will be my meditation or my yoga will be my meditation, but I do actually, most days do like a sitting meditation with, my eyes closed and just being quiet.
So beautiful, thank you. So that is extremely valuable, as we all know, as we've all heard. And HeartMath is similar but different. So typically people meditate like in the morning or the afternoon. HeartMath is meant to be used in the moment. So it's very short, like it takes like 30 seconds to do this during your day. And what we're meant to do is we realize that we're in a challenging situation. And it can be anything from traffic to a conversation, to a thought, to a memory. And so the first step is realizing, oh, something's triggering me. And then what you do is you take a breath. So let's all take a breath. And that's like our trigger, like, okay, I'm taking back control of what's happening to me right now. And then after the breath, we do what Denise shared with us this morning, where we breathe in and out through our hearts. Like picture the breath, like there's no specific way to do this. It's just picturing whatever that is for you of breath coming in and out of your heart. And what that does is it shifts our focus from what we're thinking about what just happened into feeling something. We're feeling into our body. We're shifting our mind to picturing the breath coming in and out. And then the thing that HeartMath discovered, which was revolutionary, was that if you can actually pull up a feeling of gratitude or appreciation or love, then that, like the breath calms you way, way down. And also one thing that I love that I learned through this whole adventure I've had with HeartMath is if you're breathing slowly and deeply, your body cannot panic. And that's something everybody should learn in kindergarten. So even if you only get that far, where, you have to slam on the brakes or if somebody's, like your body cannot panic if you just keep having slow rhythmic breath. So then the next step, which HeartMath discovered, is that if you can pull up this gratifying, positive feeling, then your nervous system takes on a more long-lasting and I'm going to say coherence, and we'll talk about what coherence is. But that's the thing that actually makes your nervous system synchronize. So those are the steps right there. You have to realize that something's happening and you're getting uncentered. You breathe through your heart for a moment, and it doesn't have to be a deep breath. I'm going to say more of a conscious breath, a measured breath, a focused breath. And then you shift your attention kind of out of your head and into your body. And then you can say, wait a minute, even though this is happening, there's this. And discovering what the this is for you that actually allows you to come all the way back to yourself is huge. And that's what synchronizes your nervous system. And then you can go forward with whatever's showing up in front of you, and you're back kind of in control of your experience. So does anybody want to say how they feel about that? Like, does that make sense? Does it?
Makes sense, and it seems like it would be a very good technique.
Is it something you practice when you're not panicking?
And
you
yes.
can focus when you need it.
Yeah, and especially in the beginning, because it takes some time to figure out what it is for you, like what feeling you can evoke for yourself that's so meaningful to you that it allows you to give up the fact that you had to slam on the brakes, or give up the fact that, you just got this news, which you just really didn't want to hear. Like it takes something to see that for yourself, and then really to allow yourself that space to actually create your own experience and not be affected by what's happening around you. And that actually was the hardest part for me, because like in our culture, we are meant to, it's understood kind of that we hear each other and we empathize with each other. And if, you know, like if our friend calls us and tells us, you know, this news, we have to be just as upset as they are. Or we have, like, there's certain kind of common beliefs about how you react to news. And so here we actually have to take our power back. So even if our friend does call us with difficult news, like the best thing we can be for our friend is actually a steady place. And we can hear them, you know, we can feel compassion, but we don't need to let go of our own nervous system in order to better somehow, like we have it, like, well, somehow it makes them feel better if I'm panicking too. But really, we have to look at that deeply and realize that actually we can be better for each other by being stable and being a source of calm. So let's see what else. I guess today I'm seeing kind of three things. I want to share some of the research with you because they've really done fascinating research on what's happening in the body when we have emotions, how our nervous system functions. And so I want to share a little bit of that. I want to hear, you know, from you all what your experience is of that, like how it makes you feel. Does it make sense? You know, do you think you can do it? Is it going to be easy? Is it going to be tricky? Because for some people, it's very easy. They're like, oh, of course. For some people, it's trickier, and it depends on what your beliefs are about, you know, who you are and who you need to be for the world. And, you know, so it can go the whole spectrum as you take this apart for yourself to see what you want to create for yourself, how you want to do it, and then start bringing it into your day-to-day life and your hour-to-hour life. And people say, like, really doing HeartMath 5 times a day for that, you know, 30 seconds to a minute that it takes you to refocus, like that's all it takes. It's very simple. And I guess I'll say, I'm not going to say it's easy, but it's one of those things that's simple, but not necessarily easy. And some people also do it preemptively. Like some people, every time they wash their hands, they take a breath, they center. And so they're actually building resilience. And that's another, like coherence is a big HeartMath term, and resilience is a big HeartMath term. And resilience is like things happen, but you just bounce right back. Like you have enough reserve where nothing knocks you off center, nothing, you know, you can just rise right back and hold your space. So, and I recommend both. Every time you wash your hands or have a cup of tea or whatever you want to use as your particular habit stack. Habit stack. And then also, so once you're doing that, then when something does come up, it's more readily available to you because you've created a new pathway. And I'm sure you've talked about the nervous system and how, you know, we get into, I mean, and it's true, we get into habits, you know, our body loves habits because it can conserve energy, it can but also introducing novelty whenever you have the chance is what keeps us growing. So you want to have a balance between habits and novelty. Everything, you know, from driving the different way to the grocery store to, you know, try eating with your left hand, you know, there's all kinds of fun tricks out there. But it's the same thing as doing crossword puzzles. It just continues to keep you looking at life in a new way. So let's see. So let's talk about the heart rate variability piece, because people understand their heartbeat, you know, which is, you know, if you're out of breath, your heart's beating faster. If you're resting, your heart is beating slower. So heart rate variability is actually the space between your heartbeats. And what HeartMath discovered through their research is that it's good to have high heart rate variability, because that means that your heart is flexible and present and I think of it like a tennis player, you know, when someone's waiting for the serve and they're standing there going like this, they don't know which way the serve's gonna come, but they're like ready. Like that's what I picture it. And so that's what our heart loves to be. It's just like ready to receive the world. So that's what kind of heart rate variability measures. And even though we can't really feel it, and when you take your pulse, you don't really sense it because it's really in kind of microseconds. But the space between your heartbeats, every space is different. You know, it's, you know, half a second shorter, half a second longer. And then, you know, there's like when you sit down, when you stand up, like your heartbeat changes all the time. And what they found was that your emotional state influences your heart rate variability. So if you're stressed, your variability is more rigid. And if you're relaxed, your variability is more fluid. So that right there is just very interesting. Like, who would have thought? And so that's what the heart rate variability monitor measures. Now, HeartMath was invented long before heart rate variability monitors were invented. So you do not need one of these in order to learn this technique and use this technique. What's nice about the heart rate variability monitor is it can help you identify what your, like I like to say touchstone, just because it really makes clear that this is something for you, that you, a place that you go to that allows you to recenter. So the suggestions are, when you're looking for this feeling, is probably don't choose a person, like your relationship with a person, because the relationships with our people are complicated. And though we sometimes have fabulous experiences with the people in our lives, this is such a deep, we're going deep here. And so even if you're focused on the great time you had at this, you know, situation, all of the memories of that person are there. Now, the exception could be if you have grandchildren or something that is a very pure human relationship. Certainly try that and see how you feel. Oftentimes pets are a good option because they're very, like, we know our pets, we're present with them, we feel them very deeply. Many people go to nature, like they have a favorite spot. Either it's in their yard or it's standing over the Grand Canyon, which was so vivid to them, they can just pull it up and have that feeling again so powerfully. And that's where the heart rate variability monitor can help, because then you know that you're achieving coherence. Like the feeling that you've chosen evokes what you're looking for to synchronize your nervous system. And just real quick, Denise is going to make it available, the heart rate variability monitor. She's still working out the schedule, and I want to come too. I want to be here while you try this and try different ideas that you have for what might create this feeling for you. And once you figure it out, you really don't need this anymore because you know what your touchstone is. And sometimes it changes over time and you can have a couple of them, but I just want to encourage you, like, you don't need to buy something to do this. And this is a wonderful opportunity that Denise is making available to figure it out. And I also want to introduce from my own experience, like HeartMath shares, like this is about appreciation and gratitude and love. Those are the things that are very common that produce this synchronization. And what the synchronization looks like on the monitor is you get a very smooth wave, very even. And that's what you're looking to see, which this device can show you visually. The other option when you're not in coherence is it looks like a really, like kind of a jagged graph. It's just all over the place. And that's showing that your systems are not aligned. And what it's like is you have your foot on the gas and your foot on the brake at the same time. Like you're like, and so you're like, your car doesn't know what to do. Like you're thinking this, you're moving that, you're feeling this. And so aligning all of those things is what this technique does. So it's very powerful to be able to align your nervous system. It's your heartbeat, it's your nervous system, it's all the pulses in your body. You know, the spinal fluid moves up and down. And so having this alignment just changes really everything. It changes everything about the way you feel, and it changes everything about the way your body functions, you know, from your immune system, your digestive system. I mean, and it improves sleep, you know, blood pressure, like it's just amazing. Like this is like the core of how our body regulates. And they say, you know, the brain, we think of the brain as running the show. And the brain works using chemicals, and it gives off a weak electromagnetic signal, but it really relies on chemicals that trigger the hormones. Whereas the heart gives off a pulse. Like if you picture the beat, it's a sound wave. And so this frequency of your heartbeat, sound travels much faster than matter. And so your heart can communicate with your whole body in like a millisecond, where your brain has to produce a chemical, it has to put it into the bloodstream, it has to send it through the bloodstream. So the brain is very slow compared to the heart. And so what we're talking about doing here is actually working with the frequency of our heartbeat to align and bring together all the functions of our body. So it's really fascinating stuff. Any questions? All right, let's take another, just a breath, just like, oh, it's the middle of my day, I'm taking a breath. Something else I want to share is that, you know, we have hard things happen in our lives, like the death of a loved one, a divorce, you know, there's big things that happen in life. And what HeartMath is about, there's the saying, it isn't the mountains ahead that wear you out, it's the grain of sand in your shoe. So even though we may have, you know, a year-long period in our lives, which is chaotic and turmoil and stressful, like when you think of the length of your life, it's what you're feeling all day long, every moment, that's actually affecting your body the most. And so we're looking all the way into the moment to see how we can have our own experience and control our own experience in the moment. Then so just real quick on stress. So stress is not the situation that's happening, which we often can't control, but it's the pressure or strain or sense of turmoil we feel. It's our reaction to the situation that creates the experience in our body. And it's surprisingly revolutionary that we want to take our own experience back, because it seems like we need to respond to all the turmoil in the world. But we can take action, but we don't need to allow our bodies to feel that. We can maintain our own feelings while still taking action for what we believe in and how we want to be in the world and what we want to stand for and what we want to make a difference for. So we're kind of changing the boundary. We're not letting things all the way in. We're keeping our boundary of what we want to feel, and then we're going out to meet the world. This book, the books and the materials are so wonderful, and they're so succinct. Like, the majority of people believe that emotions just happen to them. HeartMath research has shown that people have much more power over their emotional well-being than they give themselves credit for. The amount of stress we feel is directly related to our emotional reaction to situations. And then stress is a signal that we're out of balance and we need to make an adjustment. It's meant to be a short-term feedback system. And we say, oh, I feel stressed. Why is that? Oh, I'm feeling like I'm going to be late. I'm going to leave 15 minutes earlier just in case. Like, stress has a purpose. It's meant to be a signal to look at something more deeply and then make a change. It's not meant to go on all day, every day. And that's the thing that wears on our bodies. Yeah, we got the hamster wheelers, we got the whole thing. So, and just to bring a little more of the science into it. So when we feel stressed, more than 1,400 biochemicals are activated every time we shift into the stress response. Cortisol is the one that we probably know the most about. And then HeartMath uses DHEA as like the vitality hormone, the relaxation hormone. And so they've done a lot of research on how the body reacts to the stress hormones and then to the positive beneficial hormones. So, you think, well, I just got angry at that guy, but like 1,400 chemicals were produced, when you got angry at that guy. And it takes time for the body, the body produces them and then the body has to deconstruct them. So you feel like you get over it, but it takes your body time to deconstruct all of that, to put it back where it came from or excrete it. Like we take emotions as so offhand, like, oh, I felt this, I felt that, this happened, that happened. But like it's actually like when you choose to feel something, and ideally we get to the point where we at least choose some of our feelings. Like you want to have some enjoyment and surprise and spontaneity, but you also want to have a fair amount of control about what you're feeling. And because it has long lasting effects. It's not just a momentary thing. Oh, I'll get over it. She'll get over it. I'll say this, she'll get over it. It's actually something that can be taken seriously to our great benefit. So how does that feel? Like, do you feel like, yes, I can get control of my emotions. I can and it doesn't have to be like rigid, but it can be like, I am flowing in the direction of like actually choosing how I feel. And that's something I want for myself in my life. Like that would change my quality of my life, would change my health. Like, are you seeing something for yourselves?
Yes. Yes. Well, I'm thinking about like when you're like really mad at someone and you just can't let go of how mad you are at them, and then the number 1,400 chemicals, and I'm thinking, oh, what if you just keep doing this and those chemicals are just becoming some sort of stew in your body? That image kind of helps me to, realize that you want to get over it as quickly as you can, that it would have some kind of effect on your health.
It comes so fast, right? So I'm better at noticing that it's happening, but catching it before it happens, I'm not there yet, right? So I experience it and I might try a technique, but I'm not like, I think I'm going to choose, right? I can try to choose calmness after the madness, but it's always after, right? The experience is already there with the emotion.
Well, I'm thinking just about like little things, like you drop something and it broke, instead of getting upset, to be able to control that and just, okay, you gotta clean it up. It's not really a big deal.
Good.
And
Yeah.
at least that would be a start.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so these are all fabulous points. Start with the small stuff. Like when you drop something, when you spill something, when you forgot you wanted to make that, but you made this. Like start with all of those small things. And this is between you and yourself. No one's testing you, no one's measuring you. Just start changing your conversation about what's really important. The next step is don't make yourself wrong. Like the first step is actually realizing after the fact that we could have taken the breath and called up our touchstone. So making yourself wrong actually compounds it. There's the thing that happens and then you make yourself wrong. So you've got the double whammy. So just start leaning in this direction. Anytime you have the opportunity to presence this for yourself, and your body will start to change. And talking about the 1,400 chemicals, like your body gets used to a level of stress. And that's why we're all where we are right now here today. But you can retrain your body to be used to a different level of stress. So you take this step to start moving in this direction, but your body is going to help you. Your body is, like I want to say your system, like our systems, we see our bodies as body, mind, emotion, but this is all one system. And so we are reintegrating the system in a new way. And just even by leaning in this direction, you know, like maybe after a week, your body will go from being used to this level of stress to being used to this level of stress. And so when you do get triggered, it won't react quite as much. Maybe the next week, it'll be used to this level of stress. So you're retraining your body will help you. Your body will remind you, because your body has this innate desire to be healthy. It wants to have its systems function. It wants to be in alignment. It wants to be, you know, so don't think of, like, also we're talking, like, these are all thoughts in the mind. And really what we're talking about is allowing our heart to lead us more and more. And so as you let go of the control, like you have to consciously say, okay, I'm not going there. And as you do that, the balance between your mind and your heart will start to shift. And it's your heart that will start to help you, because it has wisdom and intuition. And that's something else. I'm not going to look at, okay. HeartMath has done all of this research on intuition. So we think of, like, I have kind of this the standard societal feeling about intuition, which is, oh, some people, well, everybody has a little, it happens to me sometimes. Some people are really good at it. Probably comes from the heart, it might come from the gut. And we're not going to talk about the gut brain today, but that's like a whole nother thing that can be integrated with us. So we're just a lot, like, our heart has capabilities that we are not yet aware of. And HeartMath is learning to measure these. They've done all kinds of studies, and it's fascinating to read. And like we're talking about reducing stress and taking breaths, but the more you allow your heart to express its capabilities, the more, like, there's just all kinds of things that will show up, including increased intuition, including there's cells in the heart, there's neurons in the heart that are the same exact neurons as the brain has, and there's those neurons in the gut too. So we think of thinking as happening in our head, but actually our whole body has the type of neurons that think. Like, we're actually a thinking organism. And when we shift our focus to a different area and allow those neurons to be heard, to come online, to have more of a voice, like, we can really change our experience of where our, you know, there's not language for this really, but I'm going to say where our thoughts come from. And then you can feel the difference. Oh, that's a heart, that's a head thought, that's a heart thought, that's a gut thought. Like, you can really have a very new experience of how you move through the world as you start to depend on other parts of your body and synchronize all the parts of your body together. And I guess this would be a time to say, so the quick coherence technique is the shortest version of what HeartMath offers, but they have 5 or 6 other techniques for different purposes. Like, there's one where you can go into the process having a question, then you feel your heart, you know, you take a breath, you breathe through your heart, and you open, and you can actually ask for the answer to your question. And that's, you know, it's a similar process, but it's like, it has a name, they all have great names. There's a manifestation process. Like, if you're asking for something to appear in the world, you can check with your heart, you can, like, get in alignment with this. Like, so they've really fleshed this out, and they've been doing this for 30 years now, and they've discovered some amazing things. They have processes for groups, like we're talking about what we would do with ourselves, but they have a process for a group, which you could do with your family or people at your office or at your, you know, at a friend's gathering. And then they have like a global process. They have a once a month global meditation where people all over the world meditate at the same time, because they're trying to change the field that's available to everyone to help people shift their focus. So, follow, read, follow their research as far as you want to go with what you're interested in. But just know that their vision is enormous for transforming humanity. It's very touching to me. Okay. Any questions? Yes.
I have, the past year been through several traumatic things. And they've been resolved. I'm still dealing with some after effects, but I think sometimes my moods go into replay. It's like when one of the things happened, it wasn't that scary at the time. I was very calm. I was sedated, and now there's, almost a year later, there's like, oh God, that was scary.
Yeah, sounds like a little post-traumatic stress, right?
Yeah, right. So anyway, that
So that's a great
is something
question.
I'd like to hear
So how does
you
that,
talk about
yeah,
of,
So-
okay, I lived through all of those things. I don't want them to keep echoing in my heart and head.
so I'm going to share my understanding and then I want to hear your understanding. So, we never learn to use our emotions the way they were designed. And the way they are like physiologically designed is that something happens and we feel hugely upset or hugely happy or like something happens. And when you allow that in, when you allow your body to fully experience, and I'm going to say the pain of it or the shock of it, like you really allow that. And it takes like up to 2 minutes. Your body can take 2 minutes of fully being in the emotion to process it and then release it. And you'll still have the memory of it, but it won't be stuck in your body. It will have come in, it will have gotten processed, and it will be released. And if you do that in the moment, then what you'll have is memories of the event, but you won't have the feeling of the event in your body.
Mm.
So very few people actually do that. I know I don't. And so we have this whole lifetime of these things that have happened to us that we didn't process. And so we can go back, and you don't have to go back and do them all at once, but when a memory comes up, like when a memory comes up, you can say, okay, I'm going to take a minute and like really sit with this. Like, wow, I can't believe this happened to me. And you can cry, you can like let it get into your body, like let your body go back there because your body is holding it. And once you allow your body to really get it, then it can release. So anything that we have that keeps coming back to us that way is the story about what happened, which re-triggers the emotion. And I guess that's a good time. I want to go to you real quick, but then but I want to make sure to say when we do the quick coherence technique, when we get to pulling up the emotion, it's not just the thought of the emotion. It's the emotional experience of gratitude in our bodies. Mm-hmm. And I'm very good at thinking happy thoughts, but we're actually talking about feeling gratitude in our bodies. Mm-hmm. And so that's something as you're pursuing this for yourself is, start by thinking things, but then check with yourself, like what actually allows me to feel it? Like you want your body chemistry to change. And so that's significant in the HeartMath process. And that is, it may make sense now why you need the feelings that move through our body are important in all of this. So Denise, how would you answer?
I actually would answer, I'm gonna get over here.
Yeah.
You can see me on the film. I would answer it the same because in Ayurveda, we see it as a rose, right? And we want that rose to fully open. Dr. Ladd will talk about the rose opening and eventually it does fade away and the leaves fall off, but only because we allowed it to open and to experience it. But we don't, we shut it down, we push it away because it's so uncomfortable, right? And we don't want to experience, so we keep pushing it away. But the fact that it keeps rising up tells you that it's ready to be released. But because I don't have as much training in HeartMath, but my training is in EFT, right? And so I do the tapping because then it tells the body that it's safe. And that creates different neural pathways, because the pathway that's being created is one of fear, one of panic, one of pain. And that pathway gets in Ayurveda, it's a samskara, it's a deep ravine that we get stuck in. And so EFT or tapping will help create new pathways. I like the idea of the body also creating that physiology of changing that too. So I think they would work together, but your body's definitely telling you that it wants to be let go, right?
So
Just finding the
absolutely
safe
love
place.
that,
Yeah.
love that. Like also like that image, like of the rose opening, like,
And just,
and you're worried that if you open the door to that grief or that sadness or that pain, it's gonna overwhelm you. But really the body is designed to feel it and release it. It doesn't go on forever, actually fully experience it, allows it to release forever.
Unless you have some
or the story,
depression or something.
the story will create it, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
correctly.
And then the tapping, I think, is a fabulous addition to this as you're processing things that come up. It just like, it adds to the facility with which your body can release. It changes the neural pathways. Like, I think tapping is fabulous. And you can, if you may have other practices that you can dovetail with this. Like, this is not, this can, this is a starting point, but add tapping, maybe there's something about your meditation that you want to add, like a visualization that you do in your meditation. Add that to this, a mantra, add some chanting, like customize this and make it your own.
How do you actually make it happen?
The feeling, like the shift. Okay, so let's spend the rest of our time talking about it. So everybody spend a minute kind of thinking of a feeling that is like your deepest memory of when you felt like, not just like happy, but like actually, and use joy or grounded or grateful or present, like whatever that word is for you, when you can actually feel your body relaxing. Let's check in for a minute and then we'll go and do it again. Is everybody in an okay place for that? So I'll share first just to get us started. So I actually have just changed my touchstone experience because I had such a powerful experience the other day. I've been walking my dog with a friend, with her dog, and my dog has not been friendly with other dogs. And so my dog is learning this process, and I so much want my dog to have friends. So at the end, I put my dog in the car and I went in the house with her for a minute. And I had never gotten close to her dog because I didn't want my dog, to be jealous or any of that stuff. But my dog was in the car and her dog came up to me and sat down in front of me and was looking up at me. And I had never come like face to face with this dog before. And typically dogs do that. They want you to pet them. And so I bend down and I start petting her. But then her eyes, like she had these eyes, which were just like mesmerizing. And it went from, oh, pet me, like a dog might do, where this dog was like connecting with me. And I just was like, just immediately just transported, like, whoa, I am connecting with another being in a way I really have never done before. Like my dog doesn't even look at me that way, but this dog, maybe she was seeing all, you know, how hard I was trying to help my dog or like whatever it was. She just offered herself to me just with this look in her eyes. And I was just blown away. Like, that's what we're talking about here. Like something that, like you can, like, whenever I cry a lot. But like, that's my signal, like, wow, something has touched me, something is truth, something is like, so that like, now I just picture those dogs' eyes and I can come to this place. Like everything, like nothing else matters, but like just having a moment with this dog's eyes. So, anyone else?
No one's gonna follow.
You're feeling something.
Well, yeah.
Anybody want to share? Okay.
Go the other side of having kind of 3 amazing, painful, earth-shaking things happen. I came across, I do photography a lot. It was not my career that helped me retire, but it was my joy after I retired to become as good as I could with it. I did a thing, I actually put it on TikTok, which you may have judgments about, but I don't care to hear them.
My judgment is, oh, she's on TikTok.
Anyway, it was they set up a template that you could do a kind of a review of the year. And I did it with some of my favorite photographs that I also took during this amazing, scary, you know, unhealthy, emotionally and economically scared, that kind of thing, which I looked at, and it was just so powerful that it was my creative spirit interpreting what was good about the year.
Wow,
Nice.
yeah, so
Well,
that's a great example.
and
Yeah, I
her-
feel
her-
that too.
Yeah, but her photographs are so much movement, and you have such a good eye for you know, your photos, and I think most of us might have seen them. But you see all the movement, you see the passion, and you know, and the connection between you and your
I'd
subject.
love to see them. Thank you. Yeah, I would too. So that's a good example, and you can create something for yourself too. Like, it doesn't have to be something that happened in the past. It can be something that you set up, like maybe tomorrow morning you get up at sunrise and you see the pink and then the purple, and then like you can orchestrate a moment. You can orchestrate it, you know, in your yard. You can put your crystals out in a circle and you can sit with that. You can lean against a tree. Like, go there. Figure out, like, we all have this stuff like on the edges, but like, take it seriously. Like, wow, what is calling me? What could really make a difference to me? And like, allow yourself to go right there. Like, give this to yourself as a powerful, like, offering experience, like, figure out what it is and like really go there for yourself, for your life, for your health, for your happiness, for the people around you, and see what you can create using these tools.
I appreciate that last piece, because I think sometimes when we look to find love or connection, we think about that needing another person. And we haven't all found that. And sometimes, like you said, that's complicated too. There might have been some good moments, but there's other stuff attached too. So creating it where we have more control sounds nice.
Not a person.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's complicated.
Yes.
So whatever you feel like you want to connect to, you have a connection with, but you want to pursue that more and have more of an experience, like with music. Like, there could be a piece of music that you listen to and it just like totally unravels you. Like, that's, yeah. Anybody have any questions in general about what we've talked about or in specific or?
Just kind of about the monitoring thing. How do you feel about the heart rate variability monitors like Fitbit does and all that? I mean, they're just as a benchmark, I mean, are they reliable?
I don't know that much about Fitbit. My husband uses a heart rate variability monitor when he exercises, and it's something he wears around his chest, and it's got, you know, the monitor right here. And I know there's a lot of them out there now. This one works with the HeartMath software, and you can download the software for free, you know, from Play Store or Apple Store. But this is what you plug into it. And what it is an ear clip. It's just a, you know, little clip you put on your ear, and then you plug in the end of the cable into your phone. And that transmits the heartbeat that's present in your ear onto the phone and turns it into a graph. Like they have that algorithm in their app that turns it into a graph. I don't, like, you can use those other things, but I wouldn't know how to interpret the results.
I guess I would just think that if you were actually practicing this and being really diligent and good at it, that maybe you would see it go higher over time.
Yeah.
And maybe a way to know that you
It's true, and
making progress, I guess.
they do have, like, there's level 1, level 2, level 3. The one that I use has a tone with it because I like to have my eyes closed, and then if the tone goes up, I know it's higher coherence. If the tone goes down, I know it's lower. I don't have to look. But at the end, I can look and I'll see, well, 80% of the time I was in coherence, and then 20% mid-range, and then 10% non-coherence. And then, and it was funny, I was doing it and I kept hearing the high tone, and I was like in my space, and then like, I can't wait to tell Denise, boom, you know, I can't wait to, boom. So you get to learn like which thoughts interrupt. And so it's, I mean, it's not meant to be the be all end all. You can have fun with it. And then also some people just love technology. Like it tracks your scores over time and plots them on a graph, and you can see how you're improving over time. And there are different levels of coherence. Like, you know, the wave is small, the wave is bigger, the wave is deeper. Like it has all different ways you can measure it over time. So it's certainly a fabulous tool, especially if that's your thing and if you want to really track your progress.
I thought that, so when I purchased it, I didn't know about the app. You don't have to purchase it to get access to the app, but on the app is training. So I've gone through all the different training, which gives you access to it.
You know, that's a good point. So I'll send the information about the app too, because if the goal is actually to do this with your eyes open, you know, in the middle of the day. So practicing at home with your eyes closed with the device is like step 1. But step 2 is like you actually want to sit there at home with your eyes open. Step 3 is you want to stand up, you know, so you can really evolve and evolve and evolve in your practice and understanding of this. But even if you only do it at home as a meditation, like it has value. So just allow this to unfold for you, however it does, because making yourself wrong about anything is not helping. So just trust the process. You know, it's like with a lot of things, you make your commitment, you just lean in that direction, and then you just allow it to show up however it shows up. Okay, and then I have a little present I want to hand around. These are my little cards. I leave them everywhere. It says, "Your joy matters." And so this is something to take to heart, and like, you know, they put the oxygen mask on yourself before you put it on your neighbors. Like, we matter, our feelings matter, because they're broadcast to our friends, our family, into the world. So it like whatever the process is for you, whatever the thought is for you that allows you to go down this path powerfully, you know, your joy matters. So thank you all for coming today. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for hearing this. And we'll do this periodically here at Vessel Health. So come to the introduction as many times as you want to. Please come every month. And then if you do want to go further and have either a one-on-one discussion or a group discussion where we actually progress through the techniques and we really help each other, take this on as a true practice in our lives, I'll send around information about that too. And then look for the open house with the heart rate variability monitor here, where you can come and actually try it and see what you see.
When is that likely to happen?
I thought it would be fun. I usually do something around Earth Day, and Earth Day lands on the same week as Easter. So I was thinking maybe on Wednesday we'll have like a
24th.
craft or just do some fun things. In the past, I think I brought like plants to, we'll do something fun.
So
Yeah.
23rd,
Yeah.
24th.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I figured I'd do it after yoga class since people are here already rather than, So,
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
does everybody need to leave with the breath class? It's breath, or are you guys all good? You're like, yes.
Breathe enough?
So I had just a really short one. Sometimes we get a little distracted when we're breathing because we can breathe into other things at the same time. And so when we attach a practice to our breath, it helps us stay in that moment. And so think about breathing in, and you can draw your finger up the other finger, exhaling out, drawing that breath in, exhaling out. The breath moves in and out. As we progress, you may shift this up. And so maybe as we draw the breath in, maybe we go across two fingers as we pull it in. And then as we exhale over two fingers. And you can see how this can shift and change depending on how you're feeling. And so one of the things that Laura mentioned is you can't panic when you're breathing deeply, right? And so imagine pulling your hands out and breathing, running the fingers around each other. How it can help bring you into that moment, brings you back into the breath, but also into the body.
Wow. I'm gonna do that at every stoplight.
I haven't gotten to it yet, but I can breathe in. And if I go real fast, I can do all of them, but my goal is to get through and then slowly exhale back out. Yeah, so.
And if you haven't signed up on the email list, there's one up here for Denise for the breath class and one up here for me, and that way I can send you this other.
Yeah, all right.
Thank you.
Thank you. And anybody that's been a patient at Vessel Health, you probably had received a DPA, the DBA, which actually does measure your stress, your mental stress, and your physical stress. And so that's how I met Carol. And so you've probably done it too. I know you've come to the stress class, but we also have a device that measures the energy within the body, a little bit different than heart rate variability. So. Thank you.
Thank you.
There are some teas up here. We have a ginger turmeric and a passion green tea, yes.
The other thing I wanted to say real quick is I